It is 9:34 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is the 15th day of January, 2026, and this is episode 1238, I believe, of Bitcoin. And the Senate Banking Committee has canceled the crypto market structure markup. So they were marking up the crypto market bill, and things went haywire. So that's where we're going to start today. Then we're going to head over to Germany and talk about all the news that you can use over there. My car approval has been given to the second largest German bank as they prepare, well, their retail crypto trading rollout. Then we're going to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence because there's been some scams in the crypto sector, and we should probably talk about them so that you're aware of what's going on. We're also going to stay with AI in the second part of the show. Elon Musk and X are in the news on that one. And then the Manhattan DA, well, they want stronger crypto enforcement tools. Yes, I know there's a lot about crypto in this stuff today, but things are, well, the FOMO is real and shit coins are never going to go away. So it's there and there's nothing we can do about it. But in the Bitcoin realm, BitDeer may be challenging Mara for becoming the largest Bitcoin miner. We shall see. But first, let's start with the Senate Banking Committee. They've canceled the crypto market structure markup, not the bill, but the markup of the bill. This is Nicholas D. and Jesse Hamilton writing for CoinDesk. The U.S. Senate Banking Committee will no longer be marking up its crypto market structure bill Thursday after crypto exchange Coinbase publicly withdrew its support for the legislation on Wednesday, and other rifts in the negotiation had already put it on an unsteady footing. The market structure bill, aimed at defining how federal regulators oversee the U.S. crypto industry, was postponed late Wednesday, and a new date was not set, according to a statement from committee chairman Tim Scott. Quote, "I've spoken with leaders across the crypto industry, the financial sector, and my Democratic and Republican colleagues, and everyone remains at the table working in good faith. This bill reflects months of serious bipartisan negotiations and real input from innovators, investors, and law enforcement. The goal is to deliver clear rules of the road that protect consumers, strengthen our national security, and ensure the future of finance is built in the United States," Scott said in a statement. Though Coinbase's objection on the eve of the bill's markup hearing drew the most attention, a number of other headwinds had already likely knocked the effort off course. Scott had been optimistic in a Wednesday interview, so this is just yesterday. Shit's happening fast. An interview with CoinDesk. But he also expressed uncertainty that the many differences among negotiators could be ironed out before the committee was supposed to meet. One of the bill's central and most controversial points, the allowance of stablecoin rewards programs, Wall Street bankers had continued to lobby vigorously against crypto yield and convinced a number of lawmakers from both parties that traditional banking was under threat. People familiar with the talks had said that Scott couldn't even count on a full slate of his own Republicans to back the bill as a result. And on another major sticking point for Democratic lawmakers, the talks hadn't figured out an approach to ethics requirements that would restrict senior government officials from personally profiting off of the crypto industry. At every turn, Donald Trump's White House was said to turn away those proposals which targeted his own family's interests. On Wednesday, Scott told CoinDesk that it was determined that the matter was more properly under the jurisdiction of the Senate's Ethics Committee rather than his own banking panel. The crypto industry had expended years of lobbying and a mountain of campaign spending to reach this point. The Senate Agricultural Committee, which also has to pass a related bill before the two can be merged into an eventual law, had already delayed its own markup until the end of the month, so the process may still have life. But the Banking Committee's work has been the leading edge of the U.S. effort to finally establish crypto regulations. In a statement, Summer Mersinger, CEO of industry lobbying group Blockchain Association, said, quote, "Today's delay of a markup represents a moment of recalibration, not an endpoint. On complex issues like digital asset market structure, moments like this can be a healthy part of policymaking, allowing time for additional deliberation and refinement." All right, so one of the things that was not said in this CoinDesk article was the fact that there was not enough provisions made for developers. That was like one of the main points of the bill was protection of the software developers of the tools that would be used. We're talking about like stuff like Tornado Cash, Samurai Wallet, wallet developers, mixers, all of that. And there was not enough protections given. So I'm not sure exactly why CoinDesk pulled their support. I have never been a fan of CoinDesk. I do not like how they've conducted themselves in the past, but I have a gut feeling that CoinDesk might have pulled their support because there was not enough clear language providing enough protections for software developers. And because of that, if that's true, if that's why they pulled their support, then kudos where kudos are due. We cannot allow developers of the very products that are supposed to be leveraged in this quote unquote brave new world and not have them protect. We can't have them without protection. Nobody's going to want to develop. If this is what I don't understand about this particular bill. If you depend on software developers to develop software, whether or not they use AI, right? Somebody's got to set AI to the task of developing these tools too. So it's a chain of custody chain of custody actually works. So whether you write the code yourself or you are responsible for setting into motion artificial intelligence to write the code and you're not protected, then you're not going to do it. But since that software enables the whole quote unquote crypto industry to function, do you see where I'm going with this? It's like the bill is trying to commit suicide. It's like the whole it's like Washington D.C.'s view on the entirety of this industry is so misinformed at the most fundamental of levels that if we cannot get developer protections in place, and I'm talking solid gold First Amendment protection for the developers, then there's no reason for any of us to be here. There's reason for us to be here in Bitcoin. But for this crypto industry that Washington, D.C. seems so hell-bent on regulating, honestly, on a surface view, an alien passing over the earth would just look at this like, why are you wasting your time? If you're not going to give the people that develop the thing you're trying to regulate protection, then you don't need to do any of the other work. We'll just do Bitcoin. So there's that. And it's kind of sad that the structure bill has been postponed. It would be nice. Even if it's shitty language, it would actually have been nice to see this bill come to some kind of fruition. If for the only reason of Washington, D.C. actually executing on something that they said they were going to execute on. But yeah, that looks like it's not going to happen anytime soon. But on to Germany, where DZ Bank secures a MyCar approval and prepares nationwide retail crypto trading rollout. Micah Zimmerman, Bitcoin Magazine. Germany's second largest lender, DZ Bank, has received authorization under the European Union's markets and crypto asset regulation, clearing the way for the launch of a retail crypto trading platform across the country's cooperative banking sector. The German Federal Financial Supervisory Authority, or BaFin, granted the MyCar license at the end of December. With approval, DZ Bank will roll out, oh God, Mien Krypto. And crypto is spelled with a K. Let's pause. Let's pause just a second. Does anybody in the audience have a clue as to why that name is problematic? Mein Kampf. My head. It's a book written by Adolf Hitler. In fact, it's a very famous book, but it's Adolf Hitler. Why on God's green earth, a group of grown fucking adults in Germany would actually say Mien Krypto as the name of the platform is beyond my reckoning. How hard was it to go, no, we're not going to do that. And they spelled crypto with a K. Mein Kampf, Kampf is actually spelled with a K. Let's try it again. With the approval, DZ Bank will roll out Mien Krypto, cough, cough, a digital asset trading platform designed for customers of Volksbanken and Raiffeisenbanken, Germany's network of cooperative banks. The platform allows local cooperative banks to offer retail clients access to cryptocurrency trading within their own existing banking environment. DZ Bank acts as a central institution, while each cooperative bank must submit its own MyCar notification to BaFin before activating the service for customers. Once approved and integrated into the VR banking app, Mien Krypto will function as a wallet and trading interface for self-directed investors. And at launch, the platform will support Bitcoin and other crypto. DZ Bank said additional assets could be added later. The rollout will follow a decentralized model. Each cooperative bank will decide whether to offer crypto trading based on its own strategy and risk assessments. Customers will be able to buy, sell, and hold digital assets without using external exchanges, keeping the activity within the regulated banking system. Oh, where it's nice and cozy and safe, right? The technical infrastructure behind Mien Krypto was developed by Atruvia, the IT provider for the Cooperative Financial Group, in partnership with DZ Bank. Stuttgart Stock Exchange Digital will provide crypto custody services, ensuring asset safekeeping under German and EU regulatory standards. The move reflects growing interest in digital assets across Germany's cooperative banking sector. A September 2025 survey by the German Cooperative Banking Association found that 71% of Volksbanken and Raiffeisenbanken were considering crypto services, up from 74% the previous year. About 1/3 of banks exploring crypto said they plan to launch offerings within 5 months. 5 months. DZ Bank's entry into retail crypto follows earlier efforts focused on institutional clients. The Frankfurt-based lender began offering digital asset services for institutions through partnerships with regulated market infrastructure providers, and the new MyCar license extends that strategy to private banking customers through that cooperative network. In a separate development, DZ Bank announced this week that it has joined Kivalis, a European banking consortium working on a regulated euro-denominated stablecoin. Yay! The group of 11 banks plans to launch the stablecoin next year through a Dutch entity under the same name. Kivalis is seeking approval from the Dutch Central Bank to operate as an e-money institution with a target market entry in the second half of 2026. The consortium says that the project aims to support payments and settlement for European businesses and consumers within a regulated framework. Together, the Mein Kampf rollout and the stablecoin initiative signal a broader push by Germany's cooperative banking sector to integrate digital assets into the mainstream financial sector under MyCar. That's the end of the article. But Mein Kampf, Mien Krypto, I just can't get past it, y'all. I mean, sure, maybe I should. Just let it go, David. Let it go. How can you let that shit go? How dumb is this? This is ridiculous. Almost every adult person on this planet, at least in the West, at least in the Western part of the world, what we would consider the West, Europe, Canada, Mexico, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, shit like that is considered the West. And most adults in the West, at least over the age of 40, knows that Adolf Hitler wrote a book entitled Mein Kampf. He killed millions of people. And yet the Germans themselves just don't see the connection between naming something Mein Krypto and Adolf Hitler's book Mein Kampf. This is how is this not a marketing disaster? Other than the fact that they could probably name it Shit Sandwich, and the idiots that want to dabble in shit coins and altcoins would still use it. So from that standpoint, it's probably not going to do a damn thing. But if it was anything else, that would be a PR nightmare. I'm sorry. I'm going to let it go. It's just amazing to me. But you got to go over. You got to go over to Oshi Good, GOOD.us. OshiGood.us. He's my vendor of the day for the Circle P. Circle P is open for business. It's where I bring plebs with goods and services just like you, to plebs just like you who want to buy those goods and services. You will be buying it in Bitcoin, because if you're not selling it in Bitcoin, you're not in the Circle P. OshiGood.us. Please, please, please go over there and get cocoa banana hodl bars. It looks like he might have, let's see, hold on. Is he out of stock on all? Yeah. All of his hodl butter is spoken for. It's all out of stock. But he does have chocolate banana hodl bars. And if you have not tried his hodl bars, dude, you need to go and get hodl bars from OshiGood.us. That's OSHIGOOD.us. OshiGood.us, where you will be buying hodl bars with Bitcoin. What are they? They're snack bars. Lots of dates, lots of nuts, lots of chocolate, lots of all kinds of good stuff. And by the way, there's like no preservatives. In fact, here's the full list of ingredients: dates, pecan butter, which itself contains pecans, maple sugar, cinnamon, sea salt, black pepper. There's dehydrated bananas. There's 100% cacao. There's cacao nibs. There's lion's mane. Oh, he added lion's mane. That's a good neurological mushroom to ingest, by the way. Cinnamon, vanilla extract, and sea salt. That's it. Dude, that's it. That's all there is in these bars. You got to go get them. They will fill you up if you're a hiker, or you would need to keep a snack in a car or something like that. Hodl bars are your way to go, because they are filling, they're nutritious, and they don't have any poison in it, like I don't know, Quaker snack bars or whatever, right? That's got so many preservatives in it. Go to OshiGood.us, get cocoa banana hodl bars. And by the way, let me see where it is. Yeah. Make sure that you use Bitcoin and in the coupon code. He's not probably going to give you, he might give you like a discount for it, but it's more for him, for letting him know that you heard about it here on the Bitcoin and podcast through the Circle P. That way, in the value for value advertising model that the Circle P is, Oshi can figure out how much that sale was worth for him, and then he will get me back on the other side in Bitcoin. And he does not use artificial intelligence, by the way, to make his hodl bars. However, AI and impersonations drove crypto scam losses to a record $17 billion in the year 2025. Jason Nelson from decrypt.co has this one. In 2025, crypto scams became faster, more convincing, and more profitable as artificial intelligence and impersonation tactics pushed estimated losses to a record $17 billion, according to a new report by Chainalysis. The sharp increase reflects not just more scams, but more effective scams. According to Chainalysis report released Tuesday, the average scam payment rose to $2,764 in 2025. That's up from $782 1 year earlier. Dude, that's a 250% increase year over year. Quote, on a time-weighted basis, you get faster scale and better believability, Chainalysis head of research Eric Jardine told Decrypt. Quote, over 70% of AI-enabled scams exist in the top 50th percentile of transfer volume. You're getting bigger, faster, and pulling in more money per transfer. Scams with on-chain links to AI vendors generated an average of $3.2 million per operation. That's about 4.5 times more than scams without those links. The pattern is tied to the use of face swap software, deepfakes, and large language models sold by Chinese vendors, often through Telegram channels. Quote, once you move into these deepfake type scenarios where people look, for all intents and purposes, like someone you know, or a person of authority that you've dealt with before, the believability goes up. And that means you're more likely to be scammed. And it also lets scammers scale those operations in a way that's really problematic, end quote, Jardine said. Government impersonation. That's become so effective that scams using deep-faked images of government officials grew more than 1,400% in 2025 as criminals posed as workers from government agencies, financial institutions, and crypto platforms. One of the most expansive phishing operations targeted United States residents with fraudulent Easy Pass toll alerts. Ooh, me and my wife were getting those hand over freaking fist. I would just write them back and say, fuck off, scammer, even though they weren't reading it. That's it was a waste of my time, and it would be a waste of yours, but sometimes you just can't help yourself. Yeah, the Easy Pass toll alerts was a big problem about 6 months ago. Anyway, it was a campaign Chainalysis traced to a Chinese group known as Darkula. Oh, that's cool. Or the Smishing Triad. Despite the massive scale of the attack, which sent out as many as 330,000 texts in one single day, the underlying infrastructure was remarkably inexpensive, with sophisticated phishing kits likely costing the scammers less than $500. Wow. Quote, scams have a numbers game. Yeah. And a believability dimension to them. Long-run relational scams like pig butchering have a higher average scammed amount than a YouTube giveaway scam. You're essentially trading off scale for believability, Jardine said. Pig butchering scams are long-running fraud schemes in which scammers build relationships before persuading victims to transfer increasingly large sums of money. They're named as such because scammers are, quote, fattening up victims before swindling them. In December, a woman in San Jose, California, used ChatGPT to determine that a new romantic partner was a pig butchering scammer after losing nearly $1 million in cryptocurrency. Impersonation scams are increasingly abandoning centralized exchanges for decentralized finance options like DEXs, DeFi bridges, and protocols that move their loot. This change, Jardine explained, as part of a broader trend towards the decentralization of scam operations as criminals leverage the permissionless nature of these tools to keep their funds moving. According to Jardine, while AI's use in scams is growing, basic automation is usually sufficient to move funds on-chain. Instead, more advanced AI tools could be used at that final point of reintegration to create fake KYC compliant exchange accounts in bulk, helping scammers cash out into traditional currencies. That ability to automate and scale the final step of cashing out, that helps sustain the physical aspect of the scam operations that have taken root in parts all over Southeast Asia. And in recent years, so-called scam compounds have emerged across Myanmar and Cambodia, turning pig butchering into a huge industry fueled by human trafficking and forced labor. Yeah, you can say slaves. You can do it. It's okay. That's the truth. But these operations, often run by Chinese organized crime networks, use specialized laundering channels to flip stolen crypto into luxury assets. The scale of this crisis was underscored in December when the U.S. Department of Justice moved to shut down domains linked to a major compound in Myanmar. That would be Burma, I think. They changed the name and for political reasons, and I just fucking Burma. Quote, these cases demonstrate the scale of modern cryptocurrency scam operations and their increasing integration with traditional organized crime. They also reveal the human cost of these schemes, which exploit both financial victims and the trafficked individuals that are forced to operate within them. That itself is an unspeakable crime. Yeah, because it's fucking slavery. It's human slavery. It's like Foxconn, only worse. And Foxconn, those are the guys that make a lot of the electronic products that we use here in the West. That is a terrible, terrible situation. The pig butchering compounds, they're worse. They're like prisoner camps of Vietnam era with watchtowers and shit. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Luckily, the only thing that I've been caught up in, or not really caught up in, but have actually seen on my phone, is that whole Easy Pass toll, where they said, hey, you owe us money because your car made a pass through a toll booth and you've never paid, and we're going to come after you. Yeah, that's all bullshit. Just, honestly, just forget about it. Meanwhile, let's run the numbers. CNBC futures and commodities, and good God almighty, energy just got raked over the coals this morning, probably because Trump said something that is being interpreted as him backing away from Iran. That's how volatile the energy markets are right now. It's that bad in energy. So Brent North Sea is down 4.5% to 63.53 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate down 4.8%, back below $60 to 59.03 you go. Natural gas no longer acting as a hedge today. It too is in the red by 1/5 of a point to 3.11. Wow, $3.11 a thousand cubic feet. Gasoline down almost 3 full points to $1.77, and Merbon crude not escaping the carnage, 3.48% to the downside to 64.63. Metals are mixed. Palladium is down 1.75%. Gold is down a third to 46.20 and 2 dimes. Platinum is up a third, and silver is up 0.16%, while copper is down 1.13%. Ag is fully mixed today. The biggest loser is chocolate, as usual, 2.24% to the downside. Biggest winner this morning is soybeans, which is up 1 1/5 point. Live cattle are up a third. Lean hogs up, 2.25%. Feeder cattle are up 1.13%. And the S&P is up over a half. NASDAQ is up almost a full point. Dow is up 2 3/4 of a point. And the S&P mini is up 1 1/2 point. Meanwhile, we've been doing well with the Bitcoin price lately. $96,510. That is a $1.93 trillion market cap, and we can purchase 20.9 ounces of our favorite shiny metal rock with our one Bitcoin, of which there are 19,976,054.28 of, and average fees per block are the same, 0.02 BTC. Taking fees on a per block basis is about 43 blocks carrying 25,000 unconfirmed transactions, waiting to clear at high priority rates of 1 sat per VByte. Low priority is going to get you in at 0.2. And where are we at? Oh, wow, we are scathingly close to losing zettahash. 1.01 zettahashes per second is the hash rate of the Bitcoin network. And even if it went back down to 750 exahashes per second, we would still have all the security we would ever need. So I just don't care. Nick_dose with 131 sats says cheers. And that's from A Bit Chatty, which was last episode of Bitcoin. And Cass Peeland, haven't seen him around for a while. 210 says, you're back. Nice rinse. Happy New Year. I think he meant rants, but hey, you know, you're typing on a phone. Shit's going to happen. Jay with 2100 sats says, many thanks. No, you're welcome, dude. All of you are welcome. Thank you for supporting the Bitcoin and show. And that's the weather report. Welcome to part 2 of the news that you can use. Elon Musk's X bans access to InfoFi, crypto projects amid AI slop backlash. InfoFi, I don't know what that is. I'm sure Andre Bogonsky from Decrypt will tell me all about it. Elon Musk's X is taking action against projects that seek to financialize users' attention on the platform using digital assets, head of product Nikita Beer declared on Thursday. Quote, we will no longer allow apps that reward users for posting on X, he said. This has led to a tremendous amount of AI slop and reply spam on the platform, end quote. As part of the initiative, Beer said that X has revoked API access for so-called InfoFi projects, arguing that users' experience on the platform should start improving soon as bots become aware that their activity is no longer generating income. Beer's statement included a call to people that had their developer accounts terminated, offering assistance with transitioning them to Meta's Threads or to Blue Sky, the decentralized alternative to X that gained traction under Musk's acquisition of Twitter in 2022. Hold on. Let's pause. The reason I'm laughing is that their X has pulled API access to all this bullshit, but they are more than happy to help redirect them to fuck these other platforms. I find that absolutely hilarious. Continuing, Kato, a project that's become synonymous with InfoFi following its debut last February, saw its native token nosedive following that announcement, changing hands at around $0.58 or 58 cents. The token's price dropped over 15% within 30 minutes of Beer's statement, according to CoinGecko. And then there's the other InfoFi tokens tracked by CoinGecko. They all fell as well, including Cookie DAO and Loud. The digital assets respectively fell 11% each over the same period of time. The decision at X follows controversy generated over users' use of GM, good morning, a pandemic-era crypto slang for good morning, which many consistently used as a way to engage communities. In a since-deleted post on X, Beer recently argued that crypto Twitter was, quote, dying from suicide, not from the algorithm, after industry members complained of limited reach. He pointed to users' repetitive use of the term GM as one source of low-quality content. Since then, Beer has engaged with numerous crypto-related accounts and on Tuesday signaled that the X algorithm's treatment of associated GM posts had been fixed. Wow. Going after good morning. Okay. The transition comes as X has pushed forward with other crypto-related initiatives. Earlier this week, the company introduced smart cash tags. Those allow users to specify which asset they are specifically referencing in a post down to individual smart contracts. Separately, Kato said on Thursday that it was sunsetting Yaps, a feature that allowed users to earn an AI-generated tokenized score for their engagement with various topics. Krypto founder Yui Hu described Yaps on X as something that, quote, embodied the core Web3 ethos. Does anybody know what the Web3 ethos is? Was there like a cypherpunk memorandum that I missed or something? Anyway, Hu noted that Krypto was used for marketing and building awareness with traction among people in South Korea. Hu said that Krypto held discussions with X which determined that Yap was not aligned with the needs of high-quality brands, serious content creators, or X as a platform. Critics argued that Yaps created a pay-for-play environment on X where users were incentivized to generate hype and repetitive commentary rather than engage in an actual dialogue through a process widely criticized as, quote, attention farming. Pseudonymous crypto sleuth Zach XBT, who accused Krypto of having inflated user metrics back in August, described X's decision to rid the platform of InfoFi projects as based. Quote, the inorganic activity and the fake metrics were obvious to anyone with common sense, and it made X borderline unusable for everyone else. End quote. At the same time, some onlookers raised the prospect that InfoFi platforms could continue to use X if they were willing to pony up cash. Beer indicated that this was not an option. Thank God. Quote, they were already paying us millions for enterprise API access. We don't want it, he said. Okay, I'm good with this, as long as they really do know that who they've pulled API access from are truly these people that are just generating nothing but AI slop. And this is, clearly not the first time that we've heard about X and crypto Twitter, basically, well, crypto Twitter, fuck them. Bitcoin Twitter is dead. It's non-existent. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not other really good stuff over there on X. Sometimes there's like, if you're a farmer or a rancher, dude, there's all kinds of neat stuff over there. I guess if you're a chick and you like makeup, there's probably good stuff over there for you, whatever. But Bitcoin Twitter, that shit's over, man. And if you really want to go re-engage with a majority of the highest quality content creators that used to be driving that which was known as Bitcoin Twitter, then you're going to go over to Nostr. I know I harp on it all the time. Why do you think I do? Go to Nostr. Claim your namespace. You don't pay a fee. And it's not just that. There's a whole lot about Nostr that represents the future, not only of free and open source software development in general, but also how do we engage with each other using said free and open source software? Because it's not like a centralized entity. It's different. And just because it doesn't feel like the way Twitter feels, doesn't mean that you're not going to gain a whole lot of knowledge and the ability to be flexible when it comes to how do we engage with each other in a digital environment. And if you want to make sure that you never get banned off of some kind of quote unquote social media platform or any kind of platform where there is a centralized entity controlling your access, then you're going to go over to Nostr, because Nostr is more than just social media. There is too much to go through when it comes to Nostr right now. Not for this particular episode. But you can always go to start.in, like Nancy, njump.me. Start.njump.me. Like njump me. Start.njump.me. So go there and it will walk you through everything that you need to know by the time a minute and a half passes. Okay, let's say 4 minutes. If you read every single word on every single screen as the tutorial helps you build your Nostr profile, it'll take about 4.5 minutes. If you don't have 4.5 minutes to figure out how to completely safeguard your digital identity for the rest of your life, then continue using Twitter or Facebook or whatever these things are, because the minute you say the wrong thing, and what the wrong thing is changes month to month, year to year, you're going to find your access to everything that you've built over there gone. That is impossible. It is physically impossible for that to happen on Nostr. And Nostr, I want to reiterate, not only is it already much more than simple social media, it's going to become even more than that. Go claim your namespace at start.njump.me today. Get that shit going on. Meanwhile, we're going to head to New York, specifically Manhattan, where the DA has urged lawmakers to strengthen crypto enforcement tools. Vismaya V from Decrypt. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg urged state lawmakers on Wednesday to criminalize unlicensed crypto operations, warning that a $51 billion criminal economy is thriving in regulatory blind spots. Speaking at New York Law School on Wednesday, Bragg laid out crypto enforcement as a second-term priority alongside guns and shoplifting, demanding that legislators close loopholes that allow unlicensed operators to evade prosecution despite facilitating massive money laundering operations. Quote, "We need systemic accountability like on steroids here," Bragg said. Quote, "In fact, actually, I want you to be a little scared." Oh, he wants us to be scared. And then to write your assembly person or senator about the fix, the prescription that we have, end quote. Another human being wants another human being to be scared. That is all you need to know about the way that they're approaching this shit. It doesn't matter that, yeah, there's probably some money laundering going on. Yeah, there's some loopholes and shit going on. But when somebody tells you that you should be scared, that is the language of mass media. That is the language of propaganda, and it is a tool that I have no use for in my life any longer, and you shouldn't either. Continuing, Bragg. He zeroed in on unlicensed crypto ATMs that charge 20% fees to convert dirty cash into digital assets. Quote, "They know you're laundering gun proceeds." Oh, for fuck's sake. And they do it without necessarily asking you. Okay, hold on. How do you know it's guns? See, again, it's propaganda. He doesn't know. For him to make that statement without backing it up with any kind of evidence just points more towards the use of propaganda as a tool. You know who is really good at using propaganda? You know how we learned how to use propaganda? From the Germans, specifically the Nazis. In Operation Paperclip, we brought over a lot more than just the German rocket scientists from the V2 program. We brought over a lot more than just Werner von Braun, who helped NASA do the Apollo mission and the Mercury missions, right? We brought over a lot more than that. We brought over a lot of medical people, and we brought over a lot of media people. It's the media people that went over to New York and Madison Avenue and started populating the advertisement industry. And then that started going into the news industry. And the next thing you know, here we sit today with trust in media at an all-time low, either right in front of or just behind United States federal government. It's because of this propaganda bullshit. It's because of fucking statements like we shouldn't need someone to slip up and use a traditional bank. There are people far wiser than the ones who bragged on Facebook Messenger. They know that they're laundering gun proceeds, and they do it without necessarily asking you. All this is just fear-mongering out in the open, and it's sad. While Manhattan prosecutors have indeed cracked cases, including a $5 million unlicensed Bitcoin ATM operation and terrorism financing schemes, of course you're going to wrap it in that, Bragg said investigators cannot rely on criminals making those mistakes, like accidentally using a bank. But Bragg called for mandatory licensing and know your customer requirements for all crypto businesses backed by criminal penalties. Quote, if you're operating a crypto business, if you are transferring, trading, moving, whatever verb you want to use, virtual currencies, you should be licensed. It's that simple. End quote. The proposal would make New York the 19th state to criminalize unlicensed crypto operations, he said. And during the Q&A session, civil litigator Margot Hopson raised concerns about recently widowed elderly New Yorkers having fallen victim to pig butchering schemes. Quote, we spent a lot of time trying to help the people get their stolen crypto back. It's very, very, very hard, he said, pointing to Senator Zelnor Miri's Ripoff Act, RIPOFF Act, as a potential solution that would give us more tools to help people get their stolen crypto back. Well, just this week, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Massachusetts filed a civil forfeiture action on Monday seeking $200,000 in USDT stablecoin from a Tinder-based pig butchering scam targeting Massachusetts residents. Quote, when prosecutors like Alvin Bragg say crypto crime will be a priority, the most important question is whether law enforcement has the tools or the expertise to turn that focus into actual real outcomes. Ari Redboard, a former Treasury Department official now serving as global head of policy at blockchain intelligence firm TRM Labs, told Decrypt. Well, citing the TRM Labs crypto crime report, it's crypto crime, take a bite out of crime, which shows 2025 was a record year for illicit activity with roughly $158 billion in illicit crypto flows and about $2.7 billion lost to hacks and a rise in violent wrench attacks, a level of activity, he said, that underscores why crypto is no longer a niche issue, but now firmly embedded in the broader criminal ecosystem. Redboard framed prosecutorial focus on crypto crime as a question of capacity, not just intent, saying the real outcomes depend on investing in blockchain forensic tools, building technical fluency among investigators and prosecutors, and ensuring courts are comfortable with digital asset evidence, using the technology's transparency to hold criminals accountable at scale. So there's a lot behind this. I don't want to see anybody lose their money to pig butchering schemes. The problem is that this is literally the propaganda of it's for the children, or, oh God, won't somebody think of the children? They don't give a shit about the children, and they never have, and they never will. As long as the children provide them the pretext to be able to do all the other things that don't have a damn thing to do with children, but does have something to do with their power base, they're going to do it. They don't have any moral compunction whatsoever that they're actually lying about, won't somebody think of the children? These are the people that tell us what to do, how to live, and all the messaging that has designed all of the terrible fucking social scripts that men, women, children, and elder have to follow. And if you don't follow them, even though they're fucking stupid when you think about it, you're going to be ostracized, chastised, pointed at and laughed, whatever keeps you in your box. Yeah, that's what those terrible scripts are for. And who's writing them? But the most immoral, unethical people on the planet. And yet we elect them time and time again. We need to change. But before that's ever going to happen, we got a story about BitDeer challenging Mara for leadership in Bitcoin mining. This is out of atlas21.com. BitDeer Technologies Group, headquartered in Singapore, appears to have overtaken Mara Holdings Incorporated to become the largest Bitcoin mining company by total capacity, according to the latest data released by the company. Quote, at the end of December, BitDeer reported a total hash rate under management of 71 exahashes per second. This figure includes both 55.2 exahashes dedicated to self-mining and additional equipment hosted on behalf of third parties. Mara, on the other hand, currently reports a capacity of only 61.7 exahashes per second on its official website. Since mid-2023, Mara had consolidated its position as the largest publicly traded miner by self-generated hash rate, growing from less than 20 exahashes per second to surpassing the 60 threshold in September of 2025. It remains unclear whether the total hash rate under management metric used by Bitdeer is directly comparable to the energized hash rate reported by Mara. And by the way, total hash rate under management and energized hash rate are both in quotation marks, just so you know. Bitdeer discloses a self-mining capacity of 55.2 exahashes with more than 1,100 chips deployed, 538 of which operate under external subscription agreements, generating approximately $10 million in annualized revenue, according to its fourth quarter 2025 results. That's a fucking pittance right there. $10 million per year. Holy shit. Talk about cutthroat. The rise of artificial intelligence has reshaped the economics of mining, however, pushing competing companies to develop high-performance compute infrastructure and invest in access to low-cost energy. Quote, Bitdeer reported 71 exahashes per second of capacity as of the end of December. An 18% rise month over month and a 229% rise year over year, said Matt Segel, head of research at Van Eck, in a post on X. Quote, like other miners, they are actively selling everything they mine and more to fund the pivot to AI. Yeah, maybe not. I need to see more data on that before I just believe this one guy. But in addition, Bitdeer is expanding its mining capacity through the deployment of its proprietary seal miner chips. Seal miner, like seal, baby seals. Seal miner chips. These hyper-optimized chips enable the company to mine 636 Bitcoin in December of 2025 compared. Wow, that's pretty good. 636 Bitcoin in a month compared with 145 Bitcoin the same December, but the year before, according to the latest quarterly report. That is one hell of a rise. Bitdeer's Seal 041 chip has demonstrated energy efficiencies of around 6 to 7 joules per terahash at the chip level under low voltage conditions compared to Mars' reported fleet energy efficiency of 19 joules per terahash, although this comparison may not be fully equivalent. The Singapore-based company is simultaneously expanding its AI and high-performance compute infrastructure, investing in construction projects across at least 8 sites in Canada, Ethiopia, Norway, and the United States of Ohio, Tennessee, and Washington. By contrast, Mara operates 18 data centers that primarily use Bitmain's Antminer ASIC chips, while Mara is also diversifying into AI operations. The company's core strategy focuses on retaining the Bitcoin it mines, helping it build the second largest Bitcoin treasury among public companies. Mara holds more than 55,000 Bitcoin compared with Bitdeer's mere 2017 Bitcoin. So yeah, the treasury is huge over there at Mara. But it's interesting to see Bitdeer overtake Mara in general hash rate on the Bitcoin network. I'm not happy about it, but then again, I'm not sad about it either. The only thing that I'm really not happy about here is the fact that mining centralization is a thing, and it's not all that good for Bitcoin, and I'd like to see that decentralize out a little bit, but until people start listening to what I have to say and actually executing on it, that's probably not going to happen. That is the last story for the day. My apologies for not coming to you with a show yesterday. Things happen. There's things that I have no control of, and I had to go to a doctor's office, and by the time I got back, it was just the day slipped away and other things started coming up. So that's why I wasn't here for you yesterday, but I'm here for you today. and I will be there tomorrow. I will see you on the other side. This has been Bitcoin and I'm your host, David Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and hope to see you again real soon. Have a great day.